Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel today. This is
Kelsey.
And I'm Ryan, and this channel is all about living with XXY, or also known as Klinefelter syndrome. And today we are going to talk about something really unique, something really special. What are we going to talk about?
So I was diagnosed at age 27, so I wanted to talk about what a shock that was and how I dealt with that, and then also some of the other implications as far as how that affects a family, and just different perspectives on that.
And so, speaking of shock, we're standing on a half-built, semi-built treehouse that's like 20
foot up.
30 feet off the ground. We're both definitely afraid of heights, but this is all for all of you. So what were some of those shocks like when you were diagnosed at 27?
So a lot of people growing up now are diagnosed amniocentesis before birth, or younger as a kid, something like that. So they grow up going through school with access to a different thought process about what are those challenges early versus for me getting diagnosed at 27. I had already graduated college and gotten through a lot of those phases in life, was ready to start a family with my wife, and we get this diagnosis basically saying that I can't have kids. So that was a huge shock. We've been trying for a couple of years to start our family, and to be told that I couldn't participate biologically in that event in life was pretty shocking. It was something that I don't think anybody can be prepared to take on, really.
And it came so, like, when it wasn't working to try naturally to have kids, it came like, how did that message get delivered to you? In a doctor's office?
Yep, it was in a urologist's office. I was angry at that doctor for quite some time because I felt that it was delivered in such a cold manner, like so matter of fact. But I think in reality, hindsight after the fact, they're just doing their job, trying to deliver information, and it's not necessarily their specialty to be able to handle the emotional or psychological effects after that. They can just tell you what it is, and then it's kind of up to you to figure out what to do with that. So at the time in 2007, there were not a whole lot of resources available for me to go online and try to figure out what that meant or how to move forward. So having the support of my wife, which to this day we've been married 16 years, it's invaluable to have supportive family and friends to be able to work through that. It's not to say that's an easy process to work through the shock of that, but it's definitely something that can be overcome. You can get to a point in life where you accept things and are able to move forward in an effective manner. I think one of the things that I mentioned earlier about the implications to family and stuff like that is it comes in the regard of perspective or expectations. I think as an individual with the diagnosis XXY, if I have expectations of my family to react in a certain way, I also have to understand that each person experiences shock in a different way. So the shock that I experienced on getting that diagnosis is going to be different maybe than the shock that you experience, or different than the way my parents or my brothers or my extended family or friends deal with that. A lot of people, obviously we wouldn't have this channel if people were more aware of the diagnosis. So the fact that nobody really knows what it is going to impact how people deal with that diagnosis and the way that they work through that. It's similar to grief.
Woo!
So where are you going there, buddy?
I don't know, my legs are just feeling a little weird right now.
20 feet up's a challenge.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's cool.
Oh, that just freaked me out.
But it's the shock of dealing with the diagnosis is similar to the shock of dealing with grief. If a family member passes away, each person experiences that grief in a different manner, and for that matter, grief and shock kind of go hand in hand when you get the diagnosis. So each person's going to deal with that in a different way, and we have to manage our own expectations with ourselves as much as we have to manage the expectations we hold of other people. So while we may want more empathy from our parents or our friends or something like that, we have to remember that they're going to be going through that in a different way, and it might take them a little bit longer to get that same acceptance level that I have for myself now. I hid my diagnosis for 10 years before I met Ryan, and in the last 2 years I'm more open about it, and it's cathartic, and that burden lifts off my shoulders now when I'm able to talk about it and share freely with people that, hey, I have this diagnosis. It doesn't define me and doesn't say I have to be a certain way. I can still get out and do the stuff that I want to if I put my mind to it and set goals and achieve those incrementally. So it's just manage our own expectations, manage the expectations we have for other people, and eventually people will come around to that acceptance.
And also having a positive outlook on life, that this diagnosis for 10 years, you hid something, and it's incredible that just meeting you at a Jamba Juice, that we are now working together to spread more awareness about Klinefelter syndrome and how it's been life-changing for you, but then there's been so many things about yourself that teach me, and it's like how many other people that have Klinefelter syndrome that don't talk about it, how many other people can experience the bond, the connection that we have as friends, and how many more people can we meet that have this diagnosis that can help us with that bond and open up about their diagnosis instead of hiding it for 20 or 30 years. So that's a little bit of that, a little bit about me. Basically, I was diagnosed in utero. My mom found out through an amnio back in the day. I'm 33 years old now, and I was told by my physician, my pediatric pediatrician, there we go. I was told by her at the age of 9, and obviously at 9 it's a little different, but I always knew that I was a little quirky, a little weird, a little different than everybody else. So I was like, oh cool, that's something, like there's something there that just helps me out with understanding myself. And obviously it's a huge difference in age, being 9 versus 27. So this video, thanks for sharing your story, and I know it's huge to put yourself out there, but you've learned like over the moon and back, been on more airplanes, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, everybody. Smash that smash that like button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Next video coming up soon.
Thanks everybody, have a good day.
That was awesome. It was long, but it was good. I can't